Kia ora and welcome to the Guerin Report, live tonight from the Karaka Sales Complex. It's been a special day. We're here in the Sir Patrick Hogan Auditorium. I think the late Sir Patrick would have loved what happened here today with the granddaughter of the great Zabir. We'll get to that later. It was magic here in the ring, but there was also magic at Ellerslie Millions magic. In fact, TAB Karaka Millions magic on Saturday. Let's go back before we go forward in the greatest week in New Zealand racing.
300 metres to go in the first, and it's Poetic Champion, the favourite, the leader, led by two from Vegas Queen, the inside coming after it. Out wide, Ardalio. He's no good thing, Poetic Champion. Ardalio and now Vegas Queen poking through on the inside. Vegas Queen, Ardalio, Poetic Champion, late run, Chihar out wide, Ardalio in front. Ardalio wins the first from Vegas Queen, Chihar third. Hinky Offer has flown at them late to be in a photo for fourth. The Orchestral, she's away from the rail. She's still 4 lengths off them though, but getting into the clear. Wits end out deeper. Mary Shan over on the inside. Here comes Orchestral. Moss Invaders running on and right down the outside. Bourbon Empress, don't know where to look. It is Orchestral. Orchestral in front. Moss Invader, Mary Shan. She's back in the winning groove. Orchestral. Orchestral won it second over Mary Shan. Third, Moss Invader. Fourth over as they went across was Yusei Dorsey. 300 metres to go, Chateau Valley. Malt time ranged up quickly. Bell clears, battling away as well. Konasana's coming after them. Stewart out deeper, and then came Jaffe. Konasana coming with it, and Prevu on the inside of it. Konasana and Prevu, and also Malt time. And Prevu at any old odds from Konasana. They go towards the line. Oh, gee, that's close. Don't know. Either Konasana or Prevu. Third over was Malt Time, and then Moving Melody, Aquarello. Into Bravery Born, looking to warm up late. Down to the 250. La Dorada's in front. From the right, there also now we've got Hello Romeo. They're getting out to Bravery Born. Vega for Luck. It's La Dorada in front for Craig Williams. Coming after it, Vega for Luck late, but it's another Tiaco victory. La Dorada wins the 2-year-old Karaka Millions. Further away, Billy Blinks, and then came Damask Rose, looking to warm up also Bourbon Proof, down to the 250. It's dealt with over on the inside from Tuxedo. Here's Damask Rose starting to warm up, battling on also Bourbon Proof. Damask Rose for Tiaco's coming out after them now. The filly ranged up. Damask Rose will take out the 3-year-old. Second over Tuxedo, third at the line was dealt with, and then we had Bourbon Proof in a photo with Kiwi Skyhawk. And it's Babylon Berlin. Alabama Lass, the 3-year-old filly, ranges up on the outside. 2 lengths away, Crescetti. Then Luberon. Further back, Bonnie Lass, captured by Love, warming up. Alabama Lass, Babylon Berlin. Look at Crescetti coming out after them. Then Luberon. Alabama Lass still in front. Crescetti's coming after it. Coming with it, Luberon. It's Alabama Lass and Crescetti. They hit it. Crescetti right on the line from Alabama Lass. Photos for third, we've got Platinum Attack, also White Tack and Luberon, and a great finish in the Sistema Railway.
It was on Saturday, only 2 days ago. It feels like so much longer. Let's go through them piece by beautiful piece. Race 1 was the Cambridge Stud El Manzour Trophy. Ardalio, a bit of an upset. Stephen Marsh saying they are keen on a slot in the NZB Kiwi show. She's not enormously experienced, but Ellerslie winning form at group level already. And of course, being a girl, she will get into the race with a lighter weight than the boys. So looking for a slot in the NZB Kiwi on March the 8th. Let's get to the second on the card. One of the glamour girls of New Zealand racing, Orchestral, had those doubts, reservations over her. Well, not for the last 200. Craig Grills gave her a peach of a ride, and she overpowered old rival Mary Shan. Spoke to Roger James just minutes ago. He said, we're not trying to be tricky here. We just haven't had time with the sales to look at the options. We want to look at every option in New Zealand and Australia, put them on a spreadsheet, and make a decision. No decision on Orchestral until at least later this week, Thursday, Friday, or even Saturday. So hold off her for the betting into the Herbie Dyke. Here's that market. Of course, she would be up against the great Snazzy Tavi, who really has been in rare weight for age form. But just hold off on Orchestral, Hope she makes it to Te Rapa. If she doesn't, she could go mile racing at Ellerslie, or of course, then to the 2000 for the Bone Crusher New Zealand Stakes. Race 3 on Saturday was the Westbury, and well, he was back in town. Chris Waller with his biggest ever New Zealand win with Konasana. Huge training performance. Horse only had one gallop since winning at Wyong over 16.25 on New Year's Eve to winning over 1,400 metres here. She was booked on a plane to go home to Australia this morning. She didn't catch the plane. She's sticking around. Konasana could well be here for a while with that Group 1 New Zealand Breeders' Stakes not too far away on Champions Day. Chris Waller suggesting to us here at Karaka today he'll be targeting more horses at our biggest carnivals, including 2 Home Affairs horses he bought here yesterday, which he said will be targeted for next year's TRB Karaka Millions. Then we got to the signature race of the night, and race 4, the $1 million 2-year-old Karaka Million. Well, it was them again. Te Akau make it 8 of the last 9, this time with a little bit of help from Craig Williams. La Dorada, too good. She, of course, will head to the Sistema Group 1 coming up on Champions Day. Before then, she'll head to Matamata. More from Mark Walker soon. Big announcement coming out there. Too Sweet, no luck from the draw, the second favourite. She will miss the Sistema and be set for the size Produce down at home for Royden Burgesson. In the 5th, it was, well, the Tangerine. Again, the horse who couldn't win the Karaka Million last year, Damask Rose, part owned by some of the bosses for Entain and the TAB, gets the job done with Blake Shin in the saddle this time. She, as we all know, has been taken by Te Akau in their slot for the TAB, for the NZB Kiwi, my apologies, and she is the favourite. Let's look at that market. Damask Rose, well, there is a lot of good competition, stronger competition than what we saw on Saturday night from horses like Evaporate, but she, of course, now also an Ellerslie winner, and interesting to see who Te Akau can get to come back to ride these horses on Champions Day. That's going to be intriguing with some big races there in Australia, but Damask Rose very much so deserves to be at the top of that market. And when the rain came at Ellerslie, the Strathare earned every cent of the money it cost Auckland Thoroughbred Racing. Crecchetti, who had an up and down 2024, 2025, a peach of a ride from Warren Kennedy for Aaron Tata and Danny Walker, gets home to beat a very brave Alabama lass, and just as good was Luberon. Man, she was good after being trapped 3 wide. Out of the race, Crecchetti will head to the BCD Sprint to take on Grail Seeker. This is February the 8th. Here's the market. And, of course, Savagely at Te Rapa. Race of the year has to be pretty darn close. That's intriguing stuff, with plenty of other those good sprinters in that race also backing up. The little girls won't. Alabama Lass will take a bit of a break. She'll be aimed for a race on Champions Day, so she'll head to one of the supporting races there. Then potentially the Arrowfield Sprint at the Championships. That's the 3-year-old race for $1 million, potentially, if she goes well at Ellerslie. Captured by Love, looked more of a 14 or a 16 horse the way she was running on there, and they were saying, the Te Akau team, that she could well head to Australia very, very shortly. So there's the wrap, things you need to know. That market for the BCD Sprint, well, that's going to be really determined by that barrier draw, but it's going to be a beauty for those down at Te Rapa. The other winner, there were 6 of them, plus all their connections, trainers and jockeys and strappers. The other winner on Saturday was the track at Ellerslie. Copped a lot of grief this time last year. The rain came, the racing was perfect. The race of the day was the Railway and Auckland Thoroughbred Racing, who stuck with their man Jason Fulford and stuck with their track as he learned how to make it work. They were some of our heroes at Ellerslie on Saturday. But Te Akau were the brightest of all the stars at Ellerslie, and the big news coming out today from Mark Walker, the senior training partner at Te Akau, is that he will move to Cranbourne to head up their barn there early in February. We here on the Guerin Report spoke to him about how that is going to work. Well, Mark, firstly, congratulations. 2 and 3-year-old Karaka Millions on Saturday night, and must have been very satisfying. Both horses beaten at the previous start, so took a bit of training to get them there.
Probably relief more than anything. We certainly hadn't had the best of runs at Ellerslie since it's been reopened, but just different factors involved. Just obviously missing Opie a little bit at the moment just for the general races, and obviously the two Aussies that were flown in did a brilliant job, and no, it was a very satisfying night, and great for Sam too, because obviously I've been spending quite a bit of time in Melbourne.
Okay, now that news has come out today, so you will officially, with your family of course, move to the Cranbourne base, and how often would we expect to see you returning to help oversee things here?
Yeah, so at this stage probably spend 4 days back here in New Zealand every couple of weeks, and obviously for the bigger race days I'll still attend or do track work with Sam when we've got major races heading into that week, but spend a lot more time in Melbourne now the 70 box complex is completed.
It would seem to work out okay because they have a massive spring. We have a good spring, but it's not our biggest muddy. We seem to be very big December, clearly January, February and early March, and they seem to get really busy again from about the same period, March onwards. So it is possible to be a dual country trainer?
Well, I don't think it's any different to what the major stables there, like your Waller, Gay and Adrian and
Kieran Maher.
Yeah, Kieran Maher. It's just a bit longer travel back to New Zealand than it is from Sydney to Melbourne, and as you know, some of them have 3 stables in different states, so it's no different to that. And obviously Sam and the team have done a terrific job, and yeah, it's great for our owners. That's the main thing. Gives them the opportunity to tap into that Australian prize money, which is pretty significant.
How does Cranbourne look now? Because it's different when you're setting up a new property. It's hard to do these days. Are you happy with what you've got?
It's quite unreal. It was just a gravel car park, and Ben and I basically designed it from scratch, and you couldn't actually possibly change anything. I thought, would you have done anything different? No, we wouldn't have. It's come up exceptionally well.
The 2 big winners from Saturday night, I presume Damask Rose is going to the NZB Kiwi, so how do you get her there? Does she go in fresh?
Yeah, so had a good chat with Sam, and we're just going to either give her a gallop in between races or perhaps a trial, depending on the trial schedule, which is forever changing because of tracks in different situations. So she'll go straight in, yeah. So we actually think coming back to 1500 is probably an advantage. Really
good insight there from Mark about how that's going to work. Sam Burgesson will have plenty of support there at the Matamata base, and Mark will be coming backwards and forwards. Interesting observation, wasn't it? Not totally different from the interstate trainers. They have training in Australia who have bases in different places, just a longer flight. Mark, we wish you and the family well. One of the other great names in New Zealand racing is the Chittick name, of course, and Gary Chittick is the long-time boss of Waikato Stud. He has signed the paperwork for Sathito, his filly, to take the Waikato Thoroughbred Racing slot in the NZB Kiwi. So earlier today, a very rare chance to catch up with Gary Chittick after signing that deal and selling the half-brother. Well, Gary, a big day for Sathito. She's into the NZB Kiwi for yourself in the Waikato Racing slot, and then you sold the half-brother for lovely money here at Karaka today.
Yes, well, Mary and I breed a few mares. When I sold the business to Mark, you can very, very quickly accumulate horses. So I sort of said I'd run 10 mares and a handful of yearlings. Well, it's sort of grown, so I've got to sell. And I love the colt, and to be honest, I hate selling it, they say. But anyway, good luck to the buyer.
Off to a good home?
Stephen Marsh has bought it for the Bourbon boys.
Ripper.
Yeah, so I'm very happy about that. I'm happy for Stephen. He's going like a rocket. Yeah, she's a mare that's a little bit unusual. Her first foal we got a lot of money for here, and he never grew an inch. It was so we got 800,000 for it. Never grew an inch. But anyway, this is probably one of the nicest yearlings she's had. Apart from Sathito, he's a beautiful filly.
She's a beauty. She's by Super Seth. She's awfully fast, Sathito, and you're in with the Waikato Thoroughbred Racing for the NZB Kiwi. That must sit well with you, being in with Butch and his crew.
Yeah, well, I really enjoy the Waikato Racing Club. I mean, as I said, we used to have a studmaster's room there, which unfortunately they bowled, and we had a lot of fun. But we sponsor the winners' room down below, and when I go to the races, I enjoy it there. They're good people, and if you're going to have a slot, you might as well with the people you enjoy.
Must have been very satisfying for you and Mark and the whole team. Saturday night, 2 orchestrals, obviously Super Seth winning the $1 million race, and an Ardrossan to kick the night off. So really a dream night for Waikato Stud.
Well, to be honest, I was absolutely delighted to see Orchestral come back. She's such a lovely mare, and to see her do what she did was great. I mean, the Ardrossan there, he's doing very, very well. And Super Seth, well, we paid a lot of money for him, but that doesn't necessarily mean to say they work. But he's certainly at this stage putting his foot in the till.
So that's some of all the news that's happening this week. It's been a crazy old week. But what happened today here in this special place was simply amazing. As lot 3, 4, 5 came into the ring, it was a hush. Everybody came into the auditorium, but there was no noise. I don't know how the crowd knew it was about to be this special, but special it was. She went for $2.4 million, the richest yearling filly in New Zealand history, the second richest yearling ever sold in this country, which when you think about all the horses were produced, it's pretty darn remarkable. And everybody was saying afterwards, well, Guy Mulcaster has signed for this horse. Who's actually buying? Is it a big syndicate? Well, no, it wasn't. It was this man who didn't want to do this interview. But I said to him, you're a small town boy from the South Island, Glenn Ritchie, you and Lynn. There'll be other small town people around this country who want to be inspired to do something big with their lives. Come and tell us your story. Here is the man who broke the record for New Zealand filly, Glenn Ritchie, talking about this remarkable experience. Well, Glenn, as a fellow South Island boy, I'm almost proud to see a $2.4 million lot go to the South Island, to you and your wife, Lynn. Congratulations, mate.
Thanks for that, mate. Yeah, it's sinking in, shall I say. Well, we'll sink in by tomorrow, but a few drinks anyway will help.
I've got to ask the obvious. Did you have a budget in that region, or was there a little bit of, shall we say, auctioneering fever going on?
No, there's no auctioneering fever, dare I say. I suppose you look at the of other people putting their hands up and whatever you could stop or carry on, and the boys love that horse, and I'm not a horse expert at all, but we just thought we'd keep going, and they're pleased. It'll go to Chris Waller's, of course. We might send it to, we were thinking about sending it to Christchurch with Miss Ziggy, but
I'm not sure there'll be too many places for her to race down there just yet.
No, quite right too. Sorry, it's my sense of humour.
So, on the subject of that, because you do have a diverse buying range, you had Miss Ziggy, who finished third in the Karaka Millions 2-year-old, trained by Andrew Carston, a good young South Island fella, but a horse of this level obviously is going to Chris Waller Racing in Sydney.
Not many people would know, but we've got over 20 with Chris, and we own 100% of ownership of the whole lot. We are not into syndication because it becomes too unworldly, dare I say. And
well, there's no arguments when you're the boss, is there?
No, there's not. Although I've got one boss, but
that's Lynn, your wife.
Yeah, exactly.
She seemed even more excited than you. She seemed delighted, and she clearly supports your vision for buying these quality horses.
Well, from a personal point of view, I kind of look at it, and you say 2.4 million, and of course the industry that we used to be in were buses, and you think, oh, that's only 3 new buses, and you think, what the hell?
So that's Ritchie's coach lines, of course, and everybody who's who's lived in New Zealand would have seen those around.
We sold the company, and it still carries on with Ritchie's and whatever. We've still got a few around the place in Australia and whatever. So yeah.
So why racehorses? What do you love about racing horses, and why would you want to purchase a horse like this? What does it do for you?
Well, after we sold the business, Lynn said to me, what do you want to do? He said, I wouldn't mind getting a racehorse. And one night, shall I say, very late at night, after a few reds, filled in a form and sent it on to the Wallace stable.
And how long ago was that? How long ago was that, Glenn?
Our anniversary is 3 years' time. Be 3 years at the English sales. So we've only been in horse racing for 3 years.
And you've now got 20 horses with Waller, and I take it a few with Andrew Carson?
4 or 5, and another 1 or 2 today, shall I say. We've got to go up the stairs and put our hand up again.
Was it nerve-wracking before the sale? Because the auditorium went deathly quiet and there was an anticipation, and you knew you were going to be involved, but we didn't. So was it nerve-wracking at that moment?
I don't think so. We didn't have time. I'd had a couple of rosés and whatever else, and kind of got pulled along, and here we are. Yeah.
Mate, you're a Temuka man. Now, there's not probably many people from Temuka. As you know, I'm a Greymouth lad, who have gone to 2.4 for a horse. It must have been a bloody long way from Temuka growing up to where you're standing right now.
Oh, I suppose so. Yeah, no, your roots are still in. It's like you over there on the coast. Your roots are still there, and you still see people from Temuka and whatever. So, yeah, well, it's just a normal day. Another day at the office, mate.
Well, it's not for me, and it's not for our viewers, but we do respect the fact you're a private man, but we really appreciate you coming on the show. I know the answer to this question, but I'm going to ask it. What are you going to do now?
What, today or
right now?
See, tomorrow, today I could walk out here and get run over by one of those minibuses, but right now I'm going to go over there and see Andrew Carston, and him and I are going to walk up the stairs, and we'll have another bid on something that he's already picked.
I thought you were going to go have a drink, so there you go. You have surprised me. Glenn, on behalf of everybody who hopes to one day have that experience, congratulations to you and Lynn, mate.
Good on you, mate.
It's a great story, and one of the great quotes of thoroughbred sales history. $2.4 million. It's only 3 buses. It'll take a long time to live that one down. Congratulations to Barneswood Farm, to everybody involved at Hanui, and everybody involved in that horse. And as I said, of course, by Savabeel, who was by Zabeel, who was by Sir Tristram, very appropriate it would happen here in the Sir Patrick Hogan Auditorium. And congratulations, of course, to New Zealand Bloodstock. Sometimes the figures aren't as big, but the stories are just as good. This is the story about a guy called Simon Lawson. He's not made of money. He has less buses than Glenn Ritchie does. But he put his money where his mouth is, and Gavel House to buy a mare he liked, and with Novia, a horse he knew. Here's what happened to Simon Lawson today at Karaka. Well, Simon, one of my favourite stories of the sales so far. Lot 282 has just sold for $300,000. You bought, I believe, the dam online for $500. You went out and purchased a share in Novia, and you've turned that into $300,000. How do you feel?
Yeah, it was pretty emotional when he sold. Yes.
Were there tears?
Yeah, there was a couple, and I don't think I've cried since my nana died, which was about 10 years ago, so no, it's pretty emotional, yeah.
You put the faith in Novia. He's leaving beautiful horses, and obviously you're part of the team here at Waikato Stud, but it's still a gamble when you're a young man still in that wealth accrual phase of your life to buy a share in a stallion.
100%, yeah, no, I absolutely love him, and I love the mare, so to them together they produced a lovely colt. But yeah, no, you're right. When the bills come in each month, it's sort of pretty scary, and you've got a mortgage and bits and pieces. So yeah, no, it's gets a little bit stressful, but to get a result like this, I mean, it changes your life. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
You now have a smaller mortgage.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
You spend a lot of time travelling Australasia and leading yearlings and looking after horses for people, but Waikato started as a spiritual home for you, and Mark Chittick has been a wonderful supporter of yours.
100%. I've just ticked over 5 years there, and I can't see me leaving anytime soon. The whole team there, they all followed this horse up. People will have followed him. They've looked after the mare. They've followed him all the way through, and they treat him specially because he's my horse. It's so special that they care about him as sort of as one of Waikato's. So it's very cool.
It must be slightly different going through the process of x-rays and scoping and parades when this is one that's going to help you.
100%. Yeah. Like, you don't want to have favourites, but when you own them, he was such a dude. He was so cool. So you couldn't help but love him.
All right, mate. What does the mare go to again? I take it you got a share in Navia, so there'll be another black beauty turning up on the grounds in a year or two.
Yeah, she's an Novia colt on her, and she's pregnant to him again. So yeah, I'd say that she'll be going back again this year.
Pretty special time also. You were a successful harness racing trainer and driver. You had your mates here, Josh Dickey and Zach Butcher and Shane Butcher. To share that moment with guys you've grown up with must have been pretty cool.
100%. They've been following him all the way through. Every night I get messages, how many people looked at him today, who looked at him, Peter Moody looked at him, that sort of stuff like that. So I'd get texts from them and I hadn't texted them back, and they're like, what's going on, and So yeah, and Dad was here, come support. So no, it's cool to have a beer with him after he sold, and
And it's gone to a good home. Wexford Stables, they've got 3 as of this morning, including 2 Waikato horses in the NZB Kiwi. So you must be proud, money aside, that your product and your devotion and courage to having a horse has been vindicated by a couple of the best trainers in the country.
100%. There were so many good trainers that I was happy for him to go to. Just looked at him and fell in love with him. But for him to go to Wexford is just brilliant. Just down the road, they've already added me to the mailing list of his sort of progress. So that's going to be cool to follow him. But yeah, no, that's awesome. I can't wait to sort of see him in a Kiwi this time in 2 years' time.
What a ripping story. What a beautiful story about Simon Lawson, who had that special moment here today on the most special of days in this magical week. Karaka continues tomorrow with Book 1 from 9:30 in the morning. Book 2 starts on Wednesday at noon. Thanks for taking the time to watch the Guerin Report. Next week, we go all the way to Hong Kong to interview one of our own, Jamie Richards, on the Guerin Report next Monday at 8 p.m.